Hey, good morning, good afternoon, whenever it is that you may be checking into the course on a Tuesday morning or Tuesday evening. Welcome to week 10 of the course. Uh, what do I want to start off with? Let's start off first with maybe completing. As always, I said this just about every week. Those of you who've been participating in the course, who've been uh, taking part in the discussion sections, writing your response papers on time, completing the journal exercises, it's evident that you've been um, thinking about our readings and the kind of and the thoughts, and you've been responding, I think, in um, a very engaging and thoughtful way. And so I just want to thank all of you who've been working so hard to complete the course. Um, and just keep working in the manner that you've been working in, and I can see no reason why you will not succeed in the course. That being said, not everyone has been able to keep up and on pace with the course. So I just want to take care of this business real quick. If you've fallen behind in the course, you would have received an email from me. I record this announcement on Monday mornings, Monday afternoon sometimes. You would have received an email from me on Monday morning, letting you know what your status is in the course. There are options available to you, so please contact me if you did receive that email, so we can make arrangements to see how best to get you back on track, or just to make the best decision for you as far as going forward with the course. Online learning is not always easy. It's not for everyone, because it requires, I've taken online classes in the past, and so I know how difficult it is sometimes to sort of stay on pace with the work. So it happens. So just reach out to me if we need to talk, and let's get ourselves back on track, or just bring some kind of a resolution to wherever we're at. That said, let's move on with talking about Welch. Um, Let me scan over here real quick. I want to just real quick look at the assignment for week 10. I'm leaning right now to get to the computer. We are in week 10 of the course. Uh, we're going to be finishing up our reading of Fool's Crow for the week. It's a really short article. It's by Betty Weidman. It's known as like a closure in Fool's Crow. I've excerpted a quote from Weidman. I also asked that you read the article. It's about 7, 8 pages, I think, where she talks about closure and this idea of a Begunny subjectivity, or a Begunny male subjectivity. So, by subjectivity, the short answer for what is subjectivity, it's how one becomes a subject, how one becomes a self, how one becomes their very identity, and how they become a subject to the world, essentially, and how they sort of operate within that world. I think Fool's Crow, the novel, works very hard to sort of carve out a space for a particularly male Begunny subjectivity in the mid 19th century. And that coming of age male, which is our character Fool's Crow, works very hard to sort of situate himself so that he can be the best Begunny person that he can be. And he's bound by some pretty strict gender expectations. He's bound, and he's growing up in what, for all intents and purposes, is a pretty intense patriarchy. The role of women in Begunny society is one that seems deeply marginalized in this text, and one I think that can be cause for concern for readers, and should be cause for concern for readers. So feel free, if you want to speak about the complete absence, in some senses, of a meaningful Begunny female subjectivity within this novel, feel free to sort of talk about that. But Weidman talks about how the novel itself runs a great risk, and that it wants to construct a very realistic historical fiction for the 19th century, but also relies on elements of otherworldliness, where it takes risky elements and sort of in the dream sequences. You'll read for this week. Our character goes on a quest which literally takes him beyond this world, at least psychologically, or metaphorically, even. That would be one way to sort of, I think, encapsulate the realism within the metaphor of otherworldliness. So But that runs a risk for the novel because in some ways I would argue, and I ask you in your response question that you'll need to write by the end of week, by the beginning of week 11. We're now ending a novel. We will be starting another one next week. So, but whenever we end a work, as you know, you'll have a response paper due. You'll need to, I want you to think about the language that Fool's Crow uses, the authenticity that maybe one attempts to sort of allow for a work like Fool's Crow, but maybe we would disallow for a work like Little Tree, Forrest Carter's Little Tree. So think about why it is that readers that were willing to sort of do that, and whether or not you disagree with Weidman's reading in that Fool's Crow, if anything else, brings to closure in some ways this brief moment that we're this year and a half that we're sort of given privy to as readers in Blackfeet life, and brings that moment to a closure and allows for this sort of male character to sort of continue onward. But he does that at sort of great risk in order to bring that closure, because it requires that our character in some ways see into the future, which I wish I could see into the future, but I simply can't. So have fun with your readings for this week. Cleo's decided, Nico the cat has decided to make an appearance this morning. Please don't knock down the camera. Say hi to everyone, Nico. Okay. So get your reading early. Get your discussion question, which is a brief sort of response that you can use to build your thesis. For next week, we'll be reading, after this next week, we will start reading Louise Erdrich's Love Medicine at the beginning of week 11. So we're going to be reading 2 novels back to back. So if you've fallen behind in your reading, it's a good time now to catch up. Okay, as always, any questions, let me know. Reach out to me, send me an email. I have tried to drop in on the discussion board, and I hope to more so as we approach the latter part of the semester. I know that I've been a bit remiss in sort of dropping into the discussions and chiming in, but I am reading some really good stuff, so just keep up the good work. All right, we'll talk to you next week. All right, thanks, bye. I'm fighting a cat. Bye.